What is up, everybody? It is me, Zach, alone tonight to talk about all of the many announcements that we got today at Star Wars Celebration. They kind of went for the approach where they just dropped it all in our faces at once, and that's perfectly fine with me. I guess I would have liked to have some of these trickled throughout the weekend, but the hell, it gives us a lot to talk about. So let's take roll call. Who's all here? Mr. Fetch, Sean, Charlie, Serena, A21, Visitor Zeta, Sal, the Stanleys. What's up, everybody? It's an exciting day to be a Star Wars fan. I know that there's been a lot of controversy with some of these things, but I'm just glad to get some news because one of my biggest complaints as a Star Wars fan has been that they don't really keep us informed in the way that Marvel keeps their fans informed. Like they have a whole roadmap. Like Marvel fans know what they're getting 3 years from now, and we have not had that luxury as Star Wars fans. So it's very nice to finally get some semblance of a roadmap. And one of the first things I'd like to do tonight is take a look at the timeline that they officially unveiled. So you can see it here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it starts from the Dawn of the Jedi, which is going to be one of the movies that they're gonna release in the future about the first Jedi, which should be interesting. Then the Old Republic, which I'm excited about. They even kept the same symbol. I think this is big because I think this alludes to them having plans to cover the Old Republic or actually incorporate it meaningfully into canon. Then we've got the High Republic. We all know about that. Then we have the Fall of the Jedi, which is the prequels. Then we have the Reign of the Empire, which is like the OT, Age of Rebellion, OT. Um, and the New Republic, which is kind of where we are in the Mandalorian. And then Rise of the First Order, which is, I guess, a little after the Mandalorian. And then the New Jedi Order, which is going to be Rey's movie. So I like this. I think it's indicative of what they plan to do going forward. But it's exciting. It's exciting. What do you guys think? Sorry I had to miss last night. Oh, don't worry about it, Sal. Don't worry about it. I can't believe they're actually bringing back Ray Palpatine back. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. Yeah, Charlie, I'm really pulling for you, man. I'm really pulling for you, man. It sucks that you're not over there because today was a crazy day. I remember. I feel like last year they announced more of the bigger things on the second day, but they chose to do it in the first day today. Dawn of the Jedi symbol looks neat. Yeah, they all look pretty cool. They all look pretty cool. So let's get into some of the actual projects that they revealed. The first one, obviously, the one we got the trailer for was Ahsoka, and that's coming out August of this year. And my initial thoughts of the trailer are the first thing I thought was, wow, this shot, this opening shot where she's walking into like the ruins looked terrible. It looked like just volume to the max. Like you could totally tell it was volume. It looks really bad. But I did enjoy the rest of the trailer. I think it has some room to improve visually. You can tell that they relied on the volume too much. But I'm excited to see some of the characters that we're getting, and the music was great. And there's a lot to be intrigued about in this trailer. Like the people with the orange lightsabers, obviously Thrawn. Like who's playing him? Where's Ezra? What's going on? They dropped Heir to the Empire. Obviously, it's not going to be a complete remake of or retelling of that story, but it's going to hopefully pull elements from it. Let's see. Ahsoka trailer looks low budget, almost fan film. Yeah, I know. Rapid. I agree. It doesn't look as good as it should. Like it's not Andor. So I hope that maybe that's just early renderings of things, but I doubt it because they use the volume, so it's probably how it's going to look. I'm shocked they showed Thrawn right away. Just his back. They didn't show his face. They're still playing coy about that. Super hyped. My favorite working director, James Mangold. Yeah, he's phenomenal. Is tapped to direct Dawn of the Jedi. Could be very Knights of the Round Table film as long as Lucasfilm doesn't botch it and fire the talent. I know. I've seen so many people saying, I'm so excited for this as long as it gets made, because they have canceled so many projects that they've announced. And we can only wait and see. Since they announced it at such a high profile event, I'm inclined to believe that this is going to happen, although Patty Jenkins would suggest otherwise. Don't want to sound like a jerk, but I can't lie. I hate how cheap Ahsoka looks. It looks like, honestly though, Visitor Zeta, I think the Kenobi trailer, the initial one, looked better. It looked better than the Ahsoka trailer in terms of production value. There's actually a chick I've known for a long while who dresses up as Kylo Ren. Her name is Kylo Wander. If you bump into her, say hi. She's really nice. At the Celebrate. Yeah, it's always fun seeing what people are cosplaying as there. Volume is way too overused, and I don't know why. It's just easy. It's probably cheaper for them, and it's nice for the actors, I guess, because they can see what's supposed to be around them. It helps them get immersed, but it doesn't look that good if you over rely on it, which shows like Kenobi really, illuminated. You need to use actual sets. You need to shoot on location. You need to mix that in. How much do you guys want to bet none of these movies are going to happen? I think I don't know. I think that they're gonna happen. There's no way they can keep just axing these movies. I think they're comfortable enough and they've reached a point where they're all gonna happen. I mean, notice you didn't hear anything about Taika's movie. You didn't hear anything about Ryan Johnson's trilogy that's been rumored to be happening forever, but I doubt it's going to. Let's see. I assume it's cheaper than, yeah, exactly. I heard something about something with Daisy Ridley. How exciting! Did you already talk about it? No, we're gonna get to that in a moment. We're talking about Ahsoka right now, but we are gonna absolutely cover the Daisy Ridley announcement. Heard the Andor panel was getting one way out cheers at the end of it. Sounded awesome. Yeah, I watched the Andor panel. They had that streaming on YouTube. Watched it. Very insightful. I loved hearing everybody talk about their roles. Tony Gilroy, he's so cool, man. Like, he's not afraid to cuss. He said that, I think he threw an F-bomb at some point. He was great. And then Diego Luna's awesome, and all the people who worked on the sets and the costumes and the editing. It was great. It was a great panel. I loved it. It'd be cool if the guy with the red lightsaber is Taron Malicos, since he isn't dead. Didn't he die? Taron Malicos? Didn't he get killed? Didn't Cal kill him? But there are people with orange lightsabers, and it looked like there was one wielding an Inquisitor lightsaber that Ahsoka was fighting, a double-bladed Inquisitor lightsaber as well. The orange lightsaber VFX looks a bit shit as well. I don't know why it looks so off. The lighting stuff is weird, I think. I think it goes back to like, it's a TV budget, which is unfortunate, and I think I will die on this hill. Star Wars is meant for the big screen, and you can get away with things like The Mandalorian and whatnot, and it'll look fine on TV. But it's Star Wars deserves to be on the big screen, and that's why I've been so anxious to get some movies. So despite the subject material of some of these movies that were announced, I am excited that we're gonna be able to watch Star Wars on the big screen again. Probably most of them will be delayed until cancellation, but I assume some will be made. Probably one that involves Miss Palpatine. That one seems like the most ready. I think that'll probably be the first one that comes out. Sorry, I just woke up. It's lunchtime, and you know how you feel when you oversleep. I had no idea what I'm doing. No, you're all good, Alice. I feel you. I've been great news about episode 7 of The Mandalorian. People at Celebration got an early screening of it, and they gave it high praise. Yeah, Alex saw it, and because he's there, and he said it was phenomenal. And he, as you know, does not give praise easily, so it must truly be pretty good. I'm excited. Did anyone else notice Ray Stevenson character and Ahsoka were fighting in the World Between Worlds? Return of the Pod podcast pointed this out, and I didn't pick it up. Yes, it looks like they are, which the World Between Worlds is I don't know if I like it. That's one of the things about Rebels that I don't know if I liked. I don't like time travel stories because they're so tricky and tropey, and they can be cheesy, and I don't want Star Wars to get too carried away with that. No, not dead. Look at his Wikipedia. Interesting. Mon Mothma's appearing in Ahsoka because yeah, that's great. I like the connective tissue that provides, and it makes sense. I mean, she's the Chancellor of the New Republic. Malicos was buried alive by Marin. I guess I just assumed he was dead for some reason. And I'm interested how Hayden will be in Ahsoka and what role he play. Yeah, I'm interested if he will be. Obviously they're not going to show that in the trailer, but I think it'd be a missed opportunity if he wasn't in it. You have to have Anakin. Like, Anakin, and Ahsoka. They're the characters who are tied most closely when in regards to Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka, when you think Ahsoka, you think Anakin. She's his apprentice. Like you have to have a Force Ghost moment with her and Anakin. Like you have to. That'd be just for. I mean, it'd be fan servicey, but it also I think needs to happen. There needs to be closure there. Star Wars is meant for the imagination. The big screen is just a meager representation of the imagination. Yeah, but it just feels so like it. It just feels right on the big screen. Season seems possible to salvage after all. I certainly hope so. World Between Worlds has the potential to be a good thing, but it must be handled well as with any time travel story. You are 100% right. It's just so often that they're not handled well. But if you do get it right, it can be a real banger. He's in the cast list. Is he officially in it? Because I know there were a bunch of rumors, but if he's officially there, then hell to the yeah. Ahsoka and Rex. I would put Anakin before Rex, but they'd be really close. Maybe they treat the world between worlds like the hyperbolic time chamber in Dragon Ball Z, where they use it as a dimension where no time passes rather than the time travel rope. I'm just really curious as to what the orange lightsaber folks are up to. Like, what do they want? What's their goal? Especially if they're trying to get access to the world between worlds. I wonder what we're trying to get done. Wonder if we learn how Ahsoka crossed paths with Luke. Maybe. 99% sure Hayden is Anakin in there. I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. I thought that Sabine looks great. I really like the actress they chose for her. I think she's gonna do a great job. Hera is was it Mary Jane Weinstead or something like that? That's her name. I love her. She was great in 10 Cloverfield Lane. She was great in Sky High, if anybody remembers Sky High. Obviously Scott Pilgrim versus the World as well. So, and she's married to Ewan. So Hera is married to Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is cool. I noticed a Padawan braid on the girl with the orange saber. Interesting. Maybe they're trying to they're like an upstart Jedi Order. They're trying to reform the Jedi, but change it, which makes sense. And that's what Luke should have done instead of doing the same thing that the other Jedi did. But we'll talk about that. They're streaming the Ahsoka panel tomorrow, right? Please tell me they are. Why didn't they stream the Lucasfilm Showcase panel? They're very fickle on what they stream. I'm surprised I think they only showed the Andor panel because it already came out. I remember Sky High. Yeah, I grew up on that movie. Which movie are you looking forward to the most? Dave Filoni's movie, the new Jedi Order movie, or the first Jedi movie? Honestly, the first Jedi movie. And I will talk about that later, but that's a little tease. Sky High Arena Memories. I expect Tamora Morrison to be in there for at least a couple episodes as Rex, but it would be amazing to see Hondo, AP5, Kanan in there for quick cameos. Kanan is a hologram of flashback. I agree. I totally agree. So okay, let me think. Is there anything else I want to cover on Ahsoka? We talked about Mon Mothma showing up. We talked about Hera. We did not see Hera's son, and I'm not too mad about that because I thought he looked pretty stupid in Rebels. But I think you have to because of what he represents. We talked about the orange lightsaber people. Obviously, Thrawn. What I didn't notice in the trailer was actual Imperials. You saw droids that possibly were working for Thrawn. You saw the magistrate again, but you didn't see stormtroopers. So it's still unclear if he's actually commanding Imperial troops or if he's doing something else. I think they're keeping that vague for a reason. I do love myself some Mon Mothma. Hell yeah. 2 dark side Jedi survivors of Order 66 were saved by Thrawn. That's a good theory. Unless it's not a theory. I followed a lot of what happened today, but I don't know like every tidbit. So if you guys know stuff, feel free to share. Absolutely. Andor season 2 hype. Yes. No callous. Okay, let's talk about let's move on to Rey. The big point of contention. I think personally, I don't think this should be the first Star Wars movie that returns to theaters. I don't think it should be about Rey because the sequels left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And just looking through like Reddit threads and whatnot, it's a lot of people are like, really, this is what you're doing? I mean, you just had the Rise of Skywalker, and everybody, not everybody, most people were exhausted with the sequels, and they just wanted to move on. And it almost feels like Lucasfilm stubbornly being like, no, you will like the sequels, and everybody's like, no, we don't want to, and they're like, you will like the sequels. That being said, I think that if they give her a good script and they tell a good story, it could be good. Unfortunately, I believe what they're going to do, and it's basically all but been said, is that they're going to basically give her what should have been Luke's. In Legends, Luke basically rebuilds the Jedi Order, changes some things so that it works, and then he becomes Grand Master, completely rebuilds it, and it's a success. And it's not without its bumps. Like, he has his bumps when he faces his enemies, and it's there's a lot of good stuff in there. But I think that's what everybody wanted to see when the sequels were coming out. We all wanted to see Grandmaster Luke at the height of his power, reformed the Jedi. That's what we wanted to see. We didn't really want to see a rehash of the original trilogy. So now, because they did that, Rey's going to inherit Luke's Legends role, and that, I think, that hurts a lot of people. A lot of people who grew up with the original trilogy, a lot of people who grew up in the time period after the original trilogy but before the prequels, who just had the novels that took place after the OT. It it's gonna hurt a lot of people. And even though I wasn't a part of either of those generations, it does hurt still, because Luke is one of the greatest heroes in cinema, and it's just unfortunate how it played out with the sequels. And I'm not saying that it can't be good with Rey. It's just, it should have been Luke. It really should have been Luke. Like, Rey doesn't really need to exist. Like, the story that they told doesn't really need to exist. They should have done something closer to Legends, I think. Not exactly Legends, because Legends was far from perfect, but the new Jedi Order should have been Luke's. It doesn't make sense that he would just repeat the same mistakes that the Jedi before made. It never made sense to me. I don't like that that's canon, and I think it's risky coming out with a movie that stars Rey because of the way the sequels left the fandom. I mean, it was almost dead. Like, people were so tired of it. I was tired of it, and I'm one of the biggest Star Wars fans you'll ever meet. And Mandalorian kind of resuscitated it a bit, but you just remember the state that the fandom was in at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Like, people were done. People were very apathetic towards Star Wars, and I think Lucasfilm's playing with fire, going back with Rey. In some sense, I admire them for it, because they have belief in this character that they can turn it around and make something compelling. But if they can't, this is going to be a kind of a boneheaded decision. Let's see what you guys are saying. Do you want to know any spoilers? I do not want to know any spoilers. Just from now on, Mandalorian Legion, just assume that I don't want to know any spoilers. I'm not watching it. I didn't ask for it. I can't expect there'll be a Marty McFly and fade away. Yeah, I understand that, Charlie. I think it's silly with the new Rey movie. We're getting a new Jedi Order and the new Republic. It's a bit redundant, isn't it? It's almost like this is what they should have done with the sequels instead of doing what they did. Show her being the vessel of Palpatine's soul, because Rey did kill Palpatine, so his soul should be in Rey. So make Rey a villain, but just in disguise as a hero training Padawans to be an army of Sith. I think that's a wicked cool idea. I just don't want Palpatine to return in any sense. And I thought that was stupid how he was like, "Oh, if you kill me, my soul will pass into you, and I will control you." Like, that's never been established. I mean, essence transfer is one thing, but that was, and then she kills him, and that doesn't happen as far as we know. So the logic in that movie is just not there. They said 15 years after Rise, so it'd be 50 ABY. Yeah, and I guess one of the good things about having it take place 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker is, if it's a success and people want to see more Rey, Daisy Ridley is not 15 years older from where she was in 2019. Like, she's only 5 years older, 6 years older. So well, at the time it'll come out in 2025. She'll be 6 years older, 7 years older, depending on when it comes out. Probably like 6 years. But she's gonna be young, so you can have her portray Rey for as long as you want going forward if you want her in more movies, which is good. And then people are saying we need John Boyega back, which I agree. The question is, he's pissed off at Star Wars. He's really mad at the handling of his character, and I don't blame him. They shafted Finn so hard, especially when he was one of the more interesting parts of The Force Awakens. One of the more original parts of The Force Awakens, I might add. What's up, Jarn? General Kenobi. Popping has returned again, somehow. Yeah, I don't expect to see Poe there. What's up, Tmoney? But he died in episode 6. He should have. He absolutely should have. So yeah, Rey, look, is it what I would have done? No. Is it the end of the world? No. I just think it's a risk. I think it would have been safer to do something like if you had Dawn of the Jedi be the first Star Wars movie in theaters since Rise of the Skywalker. I think that would have been better. I'm super excited about Dawn of the Jedi, and let's get into that a bit. Because I think I've covered everything I want to talk about with Rey. Dawn of the Jedi is the time period where this movie by James Mangold is going to take place. I think James Mangold is a brilliant director. Logan was fantastic. One of the best superhero movies ever made. Ford versus Ferrari was great. And the fact that they're giving him a Star Wars movie makes me believe that Lucasfilm believes that Indiana Jones 5 is going to be good. But I mean, this is the same company that promised Rian Johnson a trilogy before The Last Jedi even came out, so we never know. But it seems they have a lot of faith in James Mangold, and I have a lot of faith in James Mangold. I think he has a more impressive filmography than Rian Johnson overall. Like, he's made several phenomenal movies. So I believe in him, and I think this is an interesting concept. This is what I've been pining for. I've wanted them to go so far away from all the other events that we've seen in Star Wars and do something new. And going to the first Jedi and showing how the Jedi Order is formed, super interesting concept. And I'm hyped for it. I wanted them to either go like way in the past or way in the future, and they chose to go way in the past, and that's good with me. So, I mean, the possibilities are limitless. I mean, this is a time period where the Sith don't exist, and the Jedi didn't exist until this one Jedi forms it all. And I want to know why this happens. I want to know how it happens. Like, there's so many questions, and to me, this is the most exciting project because of that, because of how open-ended it is and all the different ways that they can handle this. Which movie do you think will come out first, Dave Filoni's or Dawn of the Jedi? I want to say Dawn of the Jedi because Dave Filoni's, it seems, has to wait for all these series to wrap up. So I assume The Mandalorian is not going to end. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to wait, but it feels like they build it as the conclusion to all of these, like the Mandoverse, if you will, the Filoni-verse. So if that's the case, then logically it would have to wait until all of those shows have come to a conclusion or have at least led to that movie. So I would expect it 2027, 2028, which I can't believe we're that far in the, like we're in 2023 right now. That's only 4 years from now. Where is time gone? But I would expect that one to be the last one to come out. I think Dawn of the Jedi will come out in the middle of the Rey movie and the Mandoverse movie. They need to not alienate the fan base. Start with something that most people will like. Just make a good movie. Yeah, exactly. That's why I think they should start with The First Jedi and then go to Rey. But I don't think that's what they're going to do. There's a lot of people who are just going to outright not see the Rey movie because it doesn't interest them, and I don't blame those people for that. I don't blame them at all. Because you had 3 movies with her, and if you didn't like her in any of those movies, why would you believe that you're going to like her for a 4th movie, especially if you're a more casual fan? Like, I'll see it because I'm a Star Wars fan, but if I wasn't, if this were, I don't know, if this were like a DC movie, I don't know that I'd go see it. Like, I like DC, but I'm not obsessed with it. Dawn of the Jedi was one of my favorite comic runs, and it cut tragically short, and they wrapped it up in 5 issues, gave people brain rot, and made people think Grey Jedi are real. Phenomenal Mamathma. Logan punched my eye. I can never not cry watching that legendary movie. It's so good, Charlie. Excited to see the Ghost in live action. I'm excited to see a lot. Like Lothal, we get to see in live action. We saw Lothcat in live action. It was still animated, obviously. I want stuff before the Phantom Menace, and there would be Sylvie's users that tap into more the dark side even before the Sith. Both they must not make it. Yeah, that's true. That is true. There would be dark side users maybe, because the Sith were founded from like fallen Jedi. So I'd like to see that someday too. Maybe if they'd show like the first Jedi, then maybe they'll show the first Sith eventually in a different movie. That'd be cool. Beautiful Grogu's flesh. Yeah, it's it's a little bit of merch. You know, it legitimizes me a little more. Force, not Cersei. That does make more sense. Yes. Be cool if they do the Fell Light Empire since they're on 45 ABY and Legends of Lumia, which the lightsaber whip. I don't think they'll do that, but I guess I can't rule it out. 2027 is coming sooner than you think. Totally. Don't know how Force became the Greek god of magic, Cersei. Yeah. We'll see the Jedi Schism can't have light without dark for long. Yep. Knights of Melvin's going to have a mental breakdown about the Rey news. I think a lot of people are. And I get it. First, I get to a certain extent. Obviously, if you're mad because you don't like a female lead, then F you. But if you're mad because you're seeing a character that you don't care about and you wish that they do something new, I completely understand that. Logan is good. You're right. Logan is good. Don't waste your air on that group. I've killed plenty of them. Yeah, you can't. You're not going to change their minds. But yeah, first ever Jedi. There's so many things you can do with it. And one of the things I like about these announcements is that they're not saying that they're going to be trilogies, but they're not saying that they're not going to be trilogies. Like it's basically each movie is going to be a test, and they're going to see how they're received. And if they're received well, then you greenlight a sequel. I think that's a good approach, as long as you have stories prepped for those sequels, just in case. Like you don't want to just have the Rey movie come out and then be like, cool, it was a success. We have no idea what to do from here. Like plan a trilogy, but don't announce a trilogy, if you catch my drift. Side note, James Mangold also confirmed he's writing Swamp Thing film with the possibility of directing it down the line. I did hear about that. That's going to come out in late 2020s as well. Yeah, Acolyte is about Darksiders. Yeah, I wish they would have released something to the public. I saw some illegally recorded footage from Celebration of it, and it looks good. It looks good, but I'd like to see a trailer, but that's still pretty far off, so I don't think we'll be getting that anytime soon. So I'm curious as to why they didn't show anything Skeleton Crew related publicly. That's coming out this year. I think we'd be due for a trailer of some kind. Saw the leaked Acolyte footage. Still looked awesome. Andor vibe with lightsabers. Definitely. I feel that. And we're talking about the future movie, but did you notice the hologram of Ezra in the Ahsoka teaser? I did. Are you participating in the perpetuation of piracy? Not technically. No. I was merely gracing my eyes on illegally recorded footage from Celebration that was placed on my Discord. Apparently, Acolyte isn't using the volume. That's always a bonus. I really hope that Lucasfilm gets away from the volume, because the Ahsoka trailer, it was hype. Don't get me wrong, but it could have looked better visually. The color grade, it looked a little off. I don't know what an animation panel is, but I hope Tales of the Jedi and Bad Batch renewals get announced. Yes, we need to have both of those things. Skeleton Crew leaked footage looked interesting. I'm not that excited for Skeleton Crew. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really enjoy shows about kids, and there's a lot of freaking kids in that show. So I don't know. We'll see. Jude Law's playing a Jedi though, which is unexpected. Do we know what year the Acolyte is truly going to be in? Like the canon timeline year? I don't know. Isn't it like 100 years before? Somebody knows in the comments, I'm sure. Ezra, I really hope they can change my opinion on him in the series. I really didn't like Ezra until maybe season 3. Then I thought he started becoming a decent character in 3 and 4, but he was pretty bad in 1 and 2. I'm not gonna lie. We need a Darth Jar Jar show or movie. Yes, of course we do. Of course we do. Now there's some other projects we can go over. Obviously, Andor was announced. Andor season 2. That is, it's coming out sooner than I expected because they said it might be late 2024 to 2025, and I always just assumed the worst. So I was like, oh great, we're not going to see it until 2025. But they announced Andor's coming out in 2024, August 2024, and they even showed some footage, which I again saw in my Discord server. By the way, if you guys haven't joined Discord, join Discord. It's in the descriptions of all of our videos. It's a great little community. It's called the Evil Ewok Empire. It's great. But yeah, Andor, we saw some Andor footage. It looks just as good as season 1. It looks really good. But that's coming out in 2024. I'm very excited. And I hope that the viewership will go up for that because it's got such good word of mouth from basically anyone who's watched it, except for the people who think it was too slow. My height for Skeleton Crew is actually lowered because Jude Law is a Jedi. I don't need everyone to be a Jedi post Order 66. I feel that. I completely understand that. That's why I didn't even think it was a possibility that he'd be playing a Jedi, because it just seems so out of left field. They really are making it feel like a lot of Jedi survived. And I guess in the scope of things, like 10,000 Jedi were alive at the time of Order 66. And even if 9,900 of them died, that's still 100 Jedi left in a galaxy. I guess that's not that many, but to us, it's a lot because we haven't even gotten 100 stories of Jedi that survived. Even season 3, they baited us with his dark side arc. It was just a phase. That's true. They did do that. Misa like Jar Jar. I want more Gollum or Andy Serkis. Absolutely, Serena. He was one of my favorite parts of the first season. Jude Law is going to be a Jedi. Yeah, he is a Jedi. It was announced today. Really want to see that Kenobi panel, but it's not until Sunday. I wonder if this means that we're not getting a season 2, because they didn't announce it today, and it seems like this was the day of announcements. Or would they save something like that for the Kenobi panel? I don't know. I'm not even sure if I want a season 2 personally. Ewok Shrine of Lord Zach and Hatred Art of Sid. Yes. We have Kill Sid prayer circles every Wednesday on the Discord. I want to see more non-Jedi or Sith Force users. I'd love if there were a popular third faction. Maybe the orange lightsaber people will be that from Ahsoka. Yeah, how many people survived Order 66? Too many. Kino Loy survives. Season 2 of Kenobi, only if it's Cody or Quinlan Voss centric. Nothing else for me. Yeah, they could do something like that. They could also do the Asherad Het thing on Tatooine. I'd be down for that. I'm on the Kill Sid front now. Absolutely, man. She's long past her due. She needs to die. Jude Law's been in Marvel, Wizarding World, and now Star Wars. He's a busy guy. He's hitting all the fandoms. He's a great actor. I thought he did a nice job as younger Dumbledore. It's unfortunate that those movies sucked, though. Kino Loy discovers armbands. 150 years before Phantom Menace for Acolyte. Season 2 of Kenobi with Satine. Yes. How do you want to see Sid die? Okay, so if I had my way, you know the old punishment, like in ancient times, where they'd tie each of your limbs to a horse, a different horse, and then they'd have the horses just run in different directions, and your arms and legs would get pulled out of their sockets. That's how I'd like Sid to die. I'd like Sid to die in that way. Sid needs the Negan treatment. Sid does not need this. So Negan gets redeemed, and he's a great character. Sid needs to just die. Have Cad Bane kill Sid like a lot. Kill Sid painfully slow. 100%. 100%. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, so Sid needs to die. And then there's the Dave Filoni movie, which I've heard conflicting reports about. I think it's going to end up being about both of these things, but I've heard that's going to be about the rise of the First Order. But I've also heard that it's going to kind of wrap up the Mandoverse, which would mean shows like Ahsoka, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, all those kinds of shows, and it's going to be a climax of those things. I think I even predicted this yesterday on the stream. I said that he'd be direct if he was going to direct a movie, it would be something like that. Um, so I don't know. I'm excited for it, especially since I hope it's not going to be one of those like straight to TV movies. I hope it's going to legitimately be something you can go see in the theaters. I do not want it to be like a streaming movie because then it'll just I feel like it won't really have much more of a budget than like a season of The Mandalorian would have. Black Chrysanthemum can kill Sid. Yeah, I'd watch that. She needs to have small bits of herself cut off at a time. Start with fingertips, then toes, then nose, then hands. Death by 100 million cuts. Yes, I'm okay with that. I want Sid to get hung and then set on fire. I'm okay with that too. Not a direct to Disney Plus movie. Yeah, no. It has to be theaters. I want to go see it in theaters. You could turn her in a nice pair of shoes. She's got nice scaly skin. She'd make for good shoes or a good purse or wallets or something like that. Maybe Hunter can give Omega a nice birthday present. Get her a Sid purse. Should be a good hat. Or maybe like a trench coat. Really happy for Dave. He deserves a feature film starting with Nickelodeon animation. Blah. Avatar, The Last Airbender, to Clone Wars. Yeah, he's had an impressive career arc. And I've generally liked what he's done with Star Wars. There are some things I don't like, but for the most part, I do approve of everything he's done. So I'm happy that he's getting live action. I hope they give him a big budget. Hope he can do all the things he wants. Hope they don't use the volume too much. But yeah, she doesn't deserve the luxury of being useful. Ice cold, Serena. Ice cold. How did we get here? We inevitably always get here and you know, shit all over Sid. Love to buy a Gucci jacket made from Sid's skin. Yeah. Anything's good with me as long as she doesn't continue to exist. Now Dave's hat is canon in Star Wars. Hell yeah. But I think that's all. That's all the announcements from today. We didn't get much from Andor season 2 in terms of people were asking, you know, interviewers were asking, "Oh, can you tell us anything about season 2?" They didn't really, only that it will end right when Rogue One begins, which is cool. We know it's gonna span, I think, 4 years from before Rogue One all the way up to Rogue One, so that'll be cool. And yeah, we're gonna see the continuation of all the characters that we left off with. We're gonna see more Andor. We're gonna see more Cyril, Deidre. We're gonna see everybody, and we're gonna see who. I wonder who's gonna die, who's gonna live. I'm really excited for it. I never thought that I would be this excited for an Andor season 2. If you go back and watch the streams of pre Kenobi, I thought that Andor was. I mean, Andor was the one that we were least excited for between Mandalorian season 3, excuse me, Kenobi and Andor. Like that was the one that we were not excited for, and it ended up being the best in my opinion. Laws thermodynamics that every EEP episode must involve Sid hatred in some way. Yeah, it's also one of Newton's laws. Dave Filoni's movie will be all the Mandoverse characters teaming up to kill Sid in the most over-the-top death Mortal Kombat style. Yeah, Sid's actually a Sith Lord or something. We should get a spin-off of the New Republic pilot. I've watched that since he's a great actor and he's going to be Uncle Iroh in Netflix Avatar. I think Rangers of the New Republic would have been cool to see. I'm kind of upset they scrapped that. Not thermodynamics. Oh no. Oh lord. That triggered some PTSD. My friends was at Andor panel. He sent me a clip of the cast on stage. It looks legendary. Yeah. Andor is such a good show, man. Such a hidden gem. Such a hidden gem. Well, I have a little bit more time before I have to go make tacos for dinner. So if you guys have any questions or you want to talk about anything, just shoot it in the comments and we'll talk about it. Because I'm pretty sure we've gone through all the projects, all the major points of the projects. So balls in your court. What would you like to talk about, chat? How are you doing today, chat? You guys all good? I know Charlie's in a bit of a situation, but we're all pulling for him to get there, to get Star Wars Celebration. Contemplated saying thermosidnamics, but that was a bit too cringy. I want that on a t-shirt with her just on fire. Taco Friday. Rock on site. Yeah, I do like making tacos. Ground turkey tacos. I don't really like ground beef. I make my tacos with ground turkey. Andor, the show we thought we didn't need. I just had tacos. They were crap. Turns out my local taco shop thinks tuna is chicken. Ew. Stubbed my toe looking for my wallet earlier. Damn it, John. You gotta be more careful. You only have 10 of those things. Vader dragging Sid through the fire like he did with Kenobi. Yes. You guys have some great ideas. I think that Lucasfilm should get us all in a room. When it's time to kill Sid, they can get us all in a room and we can just give them our ideas. Now I feel better about thermodynamics. Is better. Yeah, I honestly would wear a t-shirt. If anyone wants to make a t-shirt and send it to me where Sid is just on fire and it says thermodynamics, I would wear that. And I think Serena would deserve a t-shirt as well since she came up with the idea. I'm almost done with my story. I've been working on part 4 and let me tell you, it's golden. I mean, the picture you posted in the Discord looked pretty freaking good, A21. So I'm really happy for you. It's always fun seeing a story come to fruition. But I don't know. They did announce a lot today, so I'm not sure that they will announce anything else. If they do, I think it'll be on the animated front. Someone said Tales of the Jedi season 2. I think that's likely. Bad Batch season 3 is almost guaranteed. Anything else that you'd like to be announced, chat? Personally, I'm always gonna hold on to hope for a live action Clone Wars movie. I don't think it's ever gonna happen, but that'd be sick. Purely from a nostalgic fanboy sense, that'd be sick. But I don't know. Like they didn't announce anything Ryan Johnson related, so it doesn't seem like his trilogy's happening. They didn't say anything about Taika's project, probably because they watched Thor: Love and Thunder. So yeah, my mom does as a t-shirt press things. I think, yeah, that's that's a sick little thing to have. You can make your own t-shirts. I want a spin-off where every episode has Sid die, but it gets more and more brutal. Yeah, it's like some kind of eternal punishment where she just has to die brutally every day. Like who is it in Greek mythology where a vulture comes and like eats the person's entrails every day? Season 4 of Mando, they didn't announce that. They didn't. I would think they'd be fools to. I don't know. I think that's gonna be. They'll probably announce it next year, even though there's not going to be a celebration next year. I think it'll just be one of those things where they release a press announcement and announce it because they're going to have a season 4. Favreau was saying that they have no idea when it's going to end. That's how much story they have. What do you know? A new outfit for me. Saw movie, but Sid is the main character. Yes. Prometheus. Yeah, Prometheus. That's him. Sid should be like Prometheus. Except at least he gave humans fire. Sid gave us nothing but hatred. Rancid hatred that we can't let go. Prometheus was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, I'm just so bad with names. I just played the game Hades too. I should know these things. I have Greek mythology fresh in my head. Jon Favreau already said he wrote season 4. He did say that, yeah. I know Jon Favreau and press can stay looking tired and exhausted. He probably is. He's a busy man. They have him working on pretty much everything. Favreau and Filoni must be exhausted, man. I hope they don't get burned out of Star Wars. Because as of right now, even though I don't love everything they do, I don't know that there's someone else who'd be better equipped to handle Star Wars other than George Lucas, but that's not going to happen. Um, God, I wish they would give Lucas one more Star Wars project, just one more. I know that he sold the company. I know that he's publicly bashed, the sequels and the handling, the way Disney handled things, but you would get into you get back into the good graces of so many fans if you gave Lucas like one movie or even like a show or something like a mini series. That would be universally loved. Imagine George Lucas. Yeah, I know it would be, I think, something that almost every Star Wars fan could agree upon, and that's a rare thing these days. Like that does not happen anymore. Uh, what was the first Star Wars movie you watched? I can't say for certain. It was probably one of the original trilogies. Maybe the first memory I have of watching Star Wars is Return of the Jedi on VHS, but I probably watched something before that. I don't know why I would just start with Return of the Jedi. That doesn't make any sense. So I want to say Phantom Menace because I know that I went to see it in theaters when I was like 2.5 when it came out. So probably Phantom Menace. I think when they say the collective stories of the shows will wrap up in the Dave Filoni movies in terms of story arcs, not the shows in particular. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder about that. Like, what if say Din dies in that movie? Do they continue the Mandalorian without him? I mean, if this season has been any indication, they certainly could. Just make it about Bo or make it about another Mandalorian. It's vaguely titled, so it could be about any Mandalorian. Give him that Coruscant Underworld show. I'd pay for him to oversee that. He doesn't even need to necessarily direct anything. Just, you're right. I think that's where Lucas is at his best, honestly, where he's overseeing things, where he's crafting the story and then giving it to other people who have capable hands. The way that he did with Marquand and Kirshner, I think his name's Kirshner. The guys who did Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi, Kirshner. Um, that's the way to do it. Like that's where Lucas plays to his strengths. Because dialogue, we know that dialogue isn't his strengths. Um, Maybe having total control is not what he should have, but him being an influence is a great thing. And we saw that in the original trilogy, and we saw that in the Clone Wars. Lucas probably outshine all the stuff they've made so far. He would. And the fact that it's coming from the man himself, it would legitimize that project so much. John's probably exhausted and stressed, especially with everyone loving the newest episode of Mando. Hey, Mr. Fat, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. Maybe your favorite show isn't doomed. We'll see. Maybe this episode can turn it around. What is your opinion on the return of Rey Palpatine and her reconstruction of the Jedi Order? Wouldn't it be best and or better if it was the original character Luke? Yeah, I talked about that earlier. I completely agree with you, Raphael. I think that it should have been Luke, and it's unfortunate that it's not. And I don't like that Rey's getting what Luke should have gotten, and it feels like they're just doing what they should have done initially, and they should have had the Jedi Order be reformed in the sequel movies. They should have done that way. Instead, they chose to do a rehashing, and it didn't work. So it feels a little bit of too little, too late for me. But I would love if they can make Rey into a compelling character. I'd love it. I I have nothing against Rey other than the fact that I just think she's a boring character. And if they can rehabilitate her, I'm all for it. It's just unfortunate that it has to come on the back of like what Luke uh carved out in Legends. It's should have been him. I completely agree with you. Rick Riordan was completely against the Percy Jackson movies and even offered to help fix the script and screenplay. Yeah, I know. I've read his emails because he released the emails about that, and it is just I hate movie studios sometimes. I don't know why studio executives think that they can tell stories better than the people who tell stories for a living. And in this case, better than someone who created the freaking property. What up, Charlie Hep? We got two Charlies in the chat, everybody. Attack of the Clones was the first Star Wars movie I watched when I was 9. Attack of the Clones is the first Star Wars movie that I can remember getting like merchandise for. I remember playing with the action figures. I had a Mace Windu action figure, and I had a Dooku action figure, and they had little magnets on their palms, and the lightsaber hilts were metal. So the lightsaber hilts would like stick to their hands, and it was pretty cool. And you could squeeze their legs, and they would do like a swiping action. I only could watch Return of the Jedi as a kid. It was the only video we had. I mean, it's a good one. I think I know that we had the trilogy because I can remember having the box. It was like a 3-pack of the VHS tapes. So I know we had them all. If I did start on Return of the Jedi, I don't know why. Imagine we get a live action remake of the 2003 Clone Wars. That would be awesome. That would be cool. Charlie, good old VHS sorry, got rewind. I honestly, there's something novel about the VHS tapes. Story by George Lucas. Have him do that. I'm down. 100%. They actually said the title Mandalorian is not singular, it is more wide ranged. Yeah, there you go. Then they have a lot of leeway. Star Wars is so ingrained that and intertwined in my childhood. I don't have a first memory of Star Wars. It just wasn't my childhood. I do agree with you to that extent. Even though I do have that first memory, like Star Wars was such an integral part of my childhood. God, there's a freaking bug just flying around my face and it's annoying me. Star Wars and Lord of the Rings were the two biggest things from my childhood. I watched all of those movies about 100 times. That was my childhood. So on that front, I agree with you. Like it was just, growing up with the prequels and the originals and then Lord of the Rings coming out at the same time, there's nothing like it. I wish I could watch all those movies again for the first time. And talk to them on Discord. Good luck, K21. Good luck. It's not over till the fat lady sings. I call that John finally made his words reality from the last Star Wars celebration. He's doing Rebels. That season 1, episode 5 Gunslinger episode Manda looking mighty great right now. That was my least favorite for a while, but the recent Mando episode I think dethroned it. They retroactively deprived the OT characters of all their achievements. Yeah, and I talked about this on one of the streams earlier, I think last week or something. I don't think you should ever deprive any characters of achievements. You should never undermine what they accomplished unless you have a very damn good reason, and the sequels did not have a very damn good reason. Check memes after stream. Yes, sir. Only compelling Rey characters, Dark Rey. Okay, I want to rant for a second about Dark Rey from the Rise of Skywalker. I hated that. I hated that when they showed it in the trailer because I knew it was a gimmick. Because you don't win either way. If say she actually did turn to the dark side, then you just spoiled that in the trailer. And then she didn't. Like in the movie, she did not go to the dark side. We all know that. So if it's a gimmick and it's just like a vision, that's stupid. And why are you showing that to us? Because it's just a gotcha. There was no, like, it was just such a stupid idea. And they tried to kind of copy the whole thing where Luke goes to the cave on Dagobah and cuts down Vader and sees himself in there. They just tried to copy too much. Like J.J. Abrams should never be allowed near Star Wars again. I killed the bug, everybody. I caught it out of the midair and I killed it. Oh, great. There's another one. I need to close my window. They're getting through the little screen. George Lucas visits the Mando set each season, so that's the closest we'll see him come back full time. I know it in my heart. Nickelodeon, Paramount, Shamhammer did the same with live action Airbender Cream. Creators offered to help the story and plot. They said no thanks, we're good. I don't know why you'd ever do that. It's arrogance. Like, it's pure arrogance. Only compelling character that could grip people's attentions with a ray shield and a supple hand on. I just said, oh god. Had an Anakin figure from Attack of the Clones with the dual lightsabers. In fact, I still have it somewhere. Just lost the sabers. Yeah, the sabers would always break or get lost for me. Age 10, I saw Revenge of the Sith in the theater, my first Star Wars film. Then I saw Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace. Years later, I found out there were 3 originals. I watched those. That's my Star Wars shows. Oh, so you like legit saw the prequels first. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure I saw the originals. At least I remember when whenever I watch the prequels, I have memories of like understanding what would happen in the original. So I assume I watched those first. As far as Lord of the Rings were also my childhood, also Narnia. Yeah, Narnia was good. Those are great things to grow up on. Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Hell yeah, Charlie. All right, Sal, take it easy, brother. Can you believe that Carrie Fisher died 7 years ago? Yeah, she died in 2016, which was the worst year. Just the worst year. So many people died. It was a brutal year. Rey's mother was working in the dark side for now. I'm just saying they should have done Dark Ray period, never done it. Yeah, I think it would have been interesting if actual Dark Ray happened. That's what I wanted. It pissed me off. They faked us out. Like I never bought it, but it's like they knew that's what we wanted, and they were like, oh, here's a little taste, but nope, not really. Mary Sue movie remake will always destroy the original. Could you imagine a remake female Rambo or Terminator movie? Because I cannot. Yeah, so Hollywood has this idea that a strong female character is perfect in every way and unbeatable. That's not the case. Women are freaking awesome, and I want to see more women-led stories. However, women are also people. They're flawed. They lose sometimes. They get defeated. They get outsmarted. They make mistakes. Like they're freaking people. They're just like guys. Like we're all people. We're all humans. So in order to make a good female character, you just have to write a good human character. And Hollywood seems challenged. They can't do that for whatever reason. The problem with making a character like Rey or Captain Marvel, where they're too perfect and they don't have any flaws and they don't really lose. Although Rey did lose, I think, to Kylo in the last movie, before she pulled a dirty trick and stabbed him. Is that if you have a perfect character, whether they're male or female, and they don't have any flaws, no one can relate to them. Like, what are you trying to tell your audience? Like, you're not telling your audience anything. You're not saying, oh, this person's just like you, because they're not. Like Rey isn't like anybody. At least I will say this for Rey. At least she came from, well, it's not really true because she's Palpatine's granddaughter, but at least she was a scavenger from the desert, and that I kind of liked, that she was no one and she was powerful and she came from nothing. That is a good message, but they walked that back as well. So yeah, it's just they need to get away from that archetype, like the perfect female character. It's not interesting and it's not good, and I don't think it does particularly well at the box office if you want to appeal to their monetary sense. It's literally more lucrative to just come up with an actual person who has flaws. Uh, so yeah, women are freaking awesome. Zach, you heard it here first. Yeah, man. I mean, it's I'm never gonna be that person who's mad because the lead is a female. If you give me a good character, I have no problem with what gender they are. It doesn't matter to me. I just want good stories and I just want good characters. That is the most important thing in storytelling. Always happens in threes. It does tend to happen in threes. Can't tell you how many times I've fallen asleep watching Lord of the Rings. I've tried, but I can't. Wow, man, that's crazy. Because there's not a lot of people who like Star Wars but don't like Lord of the Rings, and vice versa. I find that there's a lot of overlap, particularly with like my generation, because we grew up on both of them. But that is interesting, Mr. Fett. They're long movies. I don't blame you. They're very long movies. How's my friend? Do I miss? Are you talking about Kat? I think she's doing well. She's probably losing her mind over some of the stuff that got announced today. If I know Kat. But yeah, I think that's just about gonna do it. I think I'll do the emoji rain thing for you guys, and then I'll bounce. I'm getting hungry. I wouldn't rule out another stream. I'll have to talk to Kat. Maybe we can do one, but yeah, you've gotten more streams this week than you usually do, so count your lucky stars. Okay, let me. Whoops, I just took myself away. I'm still here. All right, emoji rain is on. We'll get Tarkin out. And
I'm far when ready.
All right, chat. Go ahead. Unleash it on me. Yes. Let it begin. Let it rain down on me. Money. Black hearts. More money. What's up, Leia? You're just coming at the end here, but I'm glad you made it. Volcanoes, pizza. Pizza would be good. If I weren't having tacos tonight, I'd have some pizza. Money bags, bat wings, fruits, and vegetables of all kind. No, that's just fruits. Fruits. This is where the fun begins. Beds. Yes, I'm sure it's getting pretty late for some of you. Music notes, gesture cards. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight on this impromptu stream. If there's any other big news, I'll probably cover it. And again, I wouldn't rule out another stream this weekend. That's something I'd like to do. So hope you guys enjoy your night and hope you had a good time today. Any of you were at Celebration, hope you had fun. And if any of you are going on any of the other days, I hope you have fun. And Charlie, again, brother, I hope you make it there. I'm really, really pulling for you, man. But good night, everyone. I'll see you in the future.